The whole world is watching closely the war in Ukraine. I think not only in Romania, but anywhere the news from Ukraine comes first in any evening journal. We are all empathizing with Ukrainian people these days, and we are praying for peace along with them. I'm honored to introduce to you Viktoriia Chernova, a PR professional from Ukraine. Thank you, Viktoriia, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
For starters, let me just share a few things about you, Viktoriia. Viktoriia is Chief Growth Officer at Newsfront Communication, one of the biggest independent PR agencies in Ukraine, an agency that has more than 16 years of experience with local brands and international companies as well, to protect their reputation, to handle the media relations, and ultimately to grow their business. So I'm glad to have someone from Ukraine with us in PR and Communication Summit in Romania, because we are all in the same space. We are all on the same continent, and I think we breathe the same air, as someone like to say, and I pretty much like the thing that the person said. Tell us, Viktoriia, a little bit more about your agency. What kind of clients do you have? What kind of services do you provide? Just to make people know a little bit more about you and your agency.
Yeah, actually, our key service is something that we call press offices. So we are just making and doing some day-to-day media relations to our clients, mostly from technology, IT, but also we are working with some service companies, FMCG, automotive. We're also working with NGOs and pharmaceuticals. So these are big companies that we have in our portfolio. One of our key features and something that we're working a lot with too is actually helping international clients and international companies entering the Ukrainian market. This is something that is actually under a big threat right now
yes.
during the situation in Ukraine. Yeah.
We were all shocked by the news of Russia's invasion in Ukraine. I mean, it was something we never imagined and we hoped never happened. What did you do when the war started? What you and your company did that day on 24th of February, if I'm right?
Yeah, actually, I will go back a little bit that on 23rd, we had like a usual working day. We've been discussing the projects. We've been preparing for new projects, as we have won about 5 new big projects since the beginning of the year, and we were preparing to implement them. But on 24th, all of us, and me too, we just woke up to the sound of the explosions, and this is how it actually all go since then. And on 24th, actually, everyone was so shocked, and everyone was trying just to do something to understand how to actually save our lives. So we were not working on 24th, 25th, and 26th, I guess, for 2 or 3 days. There was like complete silence from us, both from us and our clients, and they are also people, and they were also taking care of their families, of their lives. So, and after this, like in about 3 days, we go back to work again, communicating and finding some new ways to help our clients.
What did you tell your clients those days? What were you talking about? Because you have some projects going on, some projects to be launched, and then everything stopped. 3 days of the first 3 days of horror for you and for everyone in Ukraine. What did you talk about with your clients after the first 3 days, and what was the reaction of the PR community in Ukraine in that days?
Well, actually, as I mentioned, like for I guess couple first days, everything stopped. The life stopped. Everything And I guess that the only thing is like state communications, government communications, and journalists is something that was working very hard, and they were producing a lot of information and providing the updates on the events around the war in Ukraine. But I would divide our clients like in two groups. The first one would be international clients who actually were helping with entering the market. We have some of the projects that were just launched, and we haven't even started the full communication for them. So that was the first client we got the letters from, that we have to stop our contracts before everything will handle, and as nobody actually really understood for how long is that, how dangerous it could be. Just for you to understand that we were not ready for this at all, and this scale of everything is that when I was leaving home on Thursdays, which is February 24, I had trainings. So I'm going to the gym. So I got all of my stuff with me just because I thought, oh, maybe I will have a chance to go to the training, just for you to understand that that wasn't something that we were expecting, and how it all how the situation will develop. So we had some letters from our clients, international clients, who told us that, sorry, we need to terminate our contracts for now, as especially we are working with some technology companies and with some products, like real hardware. And as they don't have any kind of deliveries, anything, they don't have don't have any chance to actually to supply our products to Ukraine, so they don't need to communicate that. And the second part is mostly our Ukrainian or international companies with Ukrainian offices. So they needed this time, like about 3 days or even a week, just to communicate it inside, to understand what to do, or to help their staff to evacuate or relocate to a safer place. And that was the priority, of course.
How did the role of PR agencies from Ukraine, of course, change in the times of war? It's been 1 month already, and I think everyone is pretty much involved in doing good in the country. So how your job role, or the jobs or the roles changed in the past month?
Yeah, actually, I like to say that the word is our weapon, and as the PR people, we just know how to build the communication campaigns and make it complex, from A to that, from communication channels, working with different kind of audiences, and this experience during this hard times and times of war is very crucial. And we actually have lots of different armies now in Ukraine. So we have like our actual army that we are very proud of. And we have IT army. These are guys who help to actually to withdraw all kind of cyber attacks. And we also have a PR army, is that people who are actually communicating with journalists abroad and helping them to get as much as possible information and actually truthful information about everything that's going on in Ukraine, about the stories of people who need to leave their houses, who lost someone in their families, who actually lost their jobs, or probably they needed, to stay in a bombarded cities for 2 or 3 weeks without food and without water. And these stories are important, and they are very important to talk about. So this is mostly one of the things that our team does too, is just helping to provide as much as possible truthful information about Ukraine, about our people, about what we are doing here, and how we fighting for freedom in Ukraine and in Europe.
Did all the PR agencies join forces for campaigning against the war? Did you make a, let's say, a joint force to fight this PR war? Because it's very important to have the message sent to as many people as possible in the world right now.
I wouldn't say that we have some kind of joint efforts of all the agencies, PR agencies in Ukraine. Something that this work showed us is that the importance of personal connections. So it's all about personal connections and trust. So we mostly cooperate with those agencies and those CEOs that we know personally, that we can trust. As you know, there are a lot of disinformation about propaganda and different things. We need to be very, very careful with the things we are spreading. So I would say that we are mostly cooperating with those agencies we know well, first of all. And the second one is that probably the thing why we don't have any kind of joint PR agencies, PR army or something like this, is that we don't have a real PR association or a kind of organization that unites us all. So this is, and probably I believe that probably after we win, it will be the thing to do. So mostly everything built on personal connections. So these are the projects of 2 or 3 agencies, and we are collaborating and have cooperations with digital agencies, with some marketing or the agencies that are creating ads for Ukrainian or international companies.
You said you keep in touch with some of your clients. What's their feeling? What are their feelings these days? What are the brands doing right now in Ukraine?
Yeah, actually, something very important that is this time of shock is actually over for now. Now everyone is just thinking about what we are going to do next, and we need to plan ahead to understand actually how to build everything, the communication, how to help business to survive, and actually how to help Ukraine by paying taxes, by providing services here in Ukraine. So this is very important. So mostly we are planning work and trying to understand what we are going to do next. Most of our communication projects are now connected to communicating the attitude to the way actually the Ukrainian offices or international companies, whether they have Russian offices, are they going to close it or not? The second part of our projects is mostly connected to helping them to tell about the social initiatives they have. So some of our clients is helping to connect the volunteers around Ukraine in case they need a car for evacuation or they need to transport any kind of humanitarian aid. So there was like two key parts. Some of our IT clients are still doing the employer branding, as especially from IT and technology, as they still need to hire engineers. So we are working on that and providing the information on taking care about teams, taking care about stuff, and they actually how they change their policies in terms of everything that's going on now in Ukraine.
Brands here in Romania, are trying to help a lot the Ukrainian people that who arrived in Bucharest or anywhere in the country, especially at the borders. Many brands, big brands in Romania, international brands also are involved in helping everyone who needs our, shelter this day. Do brands in Ukraine also provide services and products and everything people who are still living there need and maybe they have some projects or campaigns interesting to share with us, as far as you know, of course.
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of initiatives that are kind of a connection of different brands, and like we have some portals where you can find a shelter, you can find a humanitarian aid or something like this. On one hand, on the other hand, as I'm working a lot with technology companies, so I would probably refer to their experience. They are trying to create products that are helping during the war times. For example, we have Ukrainian company that works internationally called Makpo. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but they actually created a full tool which helps you to track the state of team, where everyone located, if they need help. They help to connect people who are close to each other, you know, if they are in the same district or in the same city and some of them needs help. So this is a full app to connect and help teams to be together and help each other during the war times. Another example is also a technology company that created a full app. They actually changed a little bit the product they have before, and they changed it and helped to actually have the notification about air raid sirens. So as the system in Ukraine of these sirens is not very modern and not everyone can actually hear it. So it's very convenient if you have an app in your phone and it signals you that you actually need to go to the shelter or to, you know, to the basement to save it.
How do you work? How do Ukrainian PR agency work with media these days? Because in better days, you know, the PR in media has a great relationship. Right now, it has to be better. And how do you work with media outlets?
Well, actually, journalists, they are heroes too, because they are working 24/7, and we actually try to take care of their time very carefully, you know, as they sometimes they work in very hard conditions while being in a basement, while being in a bomb shelter, and it's not easy. So the first thing we try to do is to find out if they need any kind of help. If someone needs a laptop or, you know, power bank or warm clothes or something like this. The second one, it is also very important that we are trying to work with all of the news breaks and all the releases and everything we are providing them with very carefully. As you know, their lives and their time is priceless right now. And we are trying to make sure that they are getting the information that is very important, and we're not distracting them from any kind of important news. And this is actually, we're trying to build our relationship just like it was before, but right now we're paying a special attention on respect to their time and respect to everything they are doing.
How do people get the news in Ukraine these days? What are the most important channels they use for getting the news? Because I imagine there is a very big pressure, and there are a lot of news coming from different sites, sources, and channels, and maybe some of them are more important, and maybe we should also try to check them out.
Yeah, actually, one of the things that we have right now, and it wasn't very popular in Ukraine before, and probably, I guess, in Romania, same, the television, because I don't even have a TV at my house. And right now, we are all watching the news. Some of the key channels in Ukraine, they have united together and they joined their efforts to provide Ukrainians with the information 24/7. So this one is first thing. It's called something like single news. So they are working together to provide Ukrainians with the updates. The other one is actually we are using a lot of messengers and social media. So all of the government and all of the state agents, they all have their own channels, groups, or something like this, where they are providing the updates constantly. So, for example, overnight, as I'm not checking all of the updates, I can have like from 60 to 70 different notifications about the events in Ukraine. Some of them, of course, signaling that in this or that place they have air raid siren. So it's not very relevant to me, but it also helps me to stay on the same page with everyone, all of the people who left in Ukraine, all of my friends and my family who are still in Ukraine.
And you all keep in touch together, because I know some of the professionals from any industry and also from the PR are abroad. You told me before you came through Romania, right? And then
I was in Romania.
You were in Romania on your way to Israel, right?
Yeah.
So some of you are working from abroad, some are still in the country. How does it work? I mean, you feel a straight connection, a good connection from the distance. It's business as usual. You are involved in everything that's happening over there.
Yeah, first thing first, I wanted just to say that actually, yes, I came to Israel from Romania, and I was there at the beginning of March, and I wanted to say thank you to all of the Romanians who supported us, because actually we really felt that everyone is caring. We had just people coming to us in a cafe or everywhere. They were asking, are you from Ukraine? And we are so proud of you guys. Thank you so much for helping us to actually protect freedom in Europe. And this is very important. So I would just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to everyone who's helping Ukrainians who are coming to Romania. And in case we're talking about our team, we actually have a very good experience of working remotely because of COVID and everything else.
Of course.
So it's pretty much the same in terms of connection, with the team. I mean, we're starting our day from just checking in all of the team chats that, hi guys, how are you? Is everything fine? How was the night? Was it silent? And everything like this. We feel a very strong connection, and we are united like never before. This is important for us to stay in touch, and we're trying to conduct some kind of team calls just to make sure that everyone is fine and they don't have any mental or physical issues. It's very important just to share our feelings, to understand that everything is okay. So it's I wouldn't say that it's business as usual, because we still struggling because of loss of our clients or actually stop the contracts. But in terms of communication, we're even closer than we've ever been before.
How do you feel about how the war is portrayed in international media? Are you satisfied with the media coverage? Because as I said, many, I mean, I think everywhere in the world, the news bulletins start with news from Ukraine, but sometimes we miss some things. How do you feel about media coverage of the war?
Well, it's true that everyone is now interested in everything that's going on in Ukraine. We actually in Kiev and all the other cities in Ukraine, we have a lot of international journalists who are talking to people who are trying to film the real stories of Ukrainians. And we're grateful to the international community and journalists who are helping us with this. We still need to work more to, to have in media the real information about what's going on. For example, not calling the war conflict or escalation or I don't know, special military operation. We still face this problem as the wording matters, and war is war. And the second narrative that we hear last time is actually about the sanctions, that they are very tough for regular citizens of Russia. And but from our perspective, actually, we don't have, it's not Putin who invaded Ukraine, it's Russia invaded Ukraine. And it's very important for media and journalists to still have a pressure on governments and political leaders, so the sanctions will be even tougher, because this is the only democratic and efficient way to actually stop the violence. It's just putting more and more and more sanctions to make sure that this ends, because we've already paid a very high price for everything.
Of course.
And the more international leaders are hesitating, the more people we lost in Mariupol, in Kharkiv, and all the cities that are now bombarded nonstop.
One last question, Viktoriia. What's your message to PR community here in Romania?
Yeah, I would just ask you to support Ukrainians in all possible ways as the professionals. Just if you have a chance to give a hand to your colleague from Ukraine to help with cooperation, finding new projects or clients, it would be much of a help. Also, as Europeans and human, if you can just still have a pressure on the government and have a pressure to make sure that sanctions are still tough, and that we have all kind of support from the government, both military and humanitarian, and also just as a human, support Ukrainians that are coming to Romania, as they really need that right now.
Well, we are on your side, Viktoriia, and we are helping as much as we can here in Romania. A lot of people are involved in volunteering or donating goods, money, or anything that is needed these days. So you can count on us, and I hope we will meet someday, in peace. And you'll speak in our conference on the stage, not by far away, due to the technology we all embraced in the past 2 years. Thank you very much for being with us today, and I hope we'll meet someday.